What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Tastes Like Music. Jason and Joe here. Starting a new feature on the channel today, Album of the Week. This is coming from our Patreon and our Discord. This is season 2 of Album of the Week. Technically, season 1 took place exclusively on the Discord, and now we are bringing the videos to YouTube. So basically, this is like a book club. Members of our Patreon and Discord community have signed up to be in this rotation where each week one person chooses a record for everybody to listen to and rate, and add their score to rate your music, with the hope of like pulling some unheralded gems from obscurity and putting them higher up on our community charts. So there are rules in place. Only 8 members of the community may have rated the album already. So you can't choose something that everybody knows already. So the things that have been chosen thus far have been, relatively obscure for the most part. I guess we can flash some of season 1 selections on the screen here, so you can see the kinds of things to expect here in season 2. The sorts of albums that people have been choosing. It's a wide variety. There's been metal. There has been, you chose Frank Sinatra. What else have we had? We've had some weird, interesting stuff.
We've had everything. We've got some indie picks from you. We had
There's some 80s stuff. Gene Loves Jezebel, and
some Water Boys, some Blue Nile. We've got Paul Williams from the 70s. We got stuff from 50s, 60s. We did a Harry Belafonte from the 50s. Did we do any 60s yet? I feel like somebody's got to.
we did that. The Flame record, I think, was the 60s, right? Or was that into the 70s?
I might have been 70.
But yeah, the point is, all kinds of stuff that we normally wouldn't talk about on the channel. It's a chance to talk about some different stuff. And it's a chance, for people to choose what we're talking about, which doesn't always happen. So if you're interested in getting in on the action, sign up for Patreon. You'll know sooner than the video comes out which record everybody is listening to. You can talk about it and engage with other people listening to the record. I will forewarn people, the list is long already. So if you sign up and you're expecting to just have a record reviewed on the channel, you're probably looking at 9 to 10 months at this point before we get to your record. But yeah, it's a good time. And so season 2 kicks off with a selection from Mark G, who, if you've watched our end of year wrap up videos, I think he participated in the best albums of 1972 video, talking about, yes, he's been on the Patreon and Discord, I think, pretty much since the beginning. He is a big Latin music fan, the biggest proponent of Latin music in our community. And so he's chosen a record called Norma from 2018 by the artist Mon Laferte. I think I'm saying that correctly, but I could very well be wrong. Chilean Mexican singer. This record in particular covers a bunch of different styles: mambo, salsa, cumbia, bolero, merengue. Do I know which one's which when it's happening? Not necessarily, but interestingly, and I think to people who watch this channel, produced by Omar Rodriguez Lopez of At the Drive-In and Mars Volta. So that, when I heard that, that really kind of piqued my interest a bit. So yeah, I will say before we talk about this record that I don't really know how to talk about this type of music that well. So kind of searching in the dark here, speaking of it, but I will say I overall enjoyed it. How about you?
Yeah, overall, I liked it. I've heard a little bit of Mon in the past, some songs here and there. A lot of mostly live stuff from her. I haven't heard many of her albums, but Mark was sharing some live stuff from her, and it was really good. So I was excited to explore this one. Uh, some interesting notes about the albums recorded in a single session, 13 different musicians, no overdubs. So they were going for a kind of a live full band feel, which is cool. I think it sounds really good. I think Omar Rodriguez Lopez, my boy from At the Drive-In Mars Volta, did a very good job of sort of organizing everything and making it sound good. The focus is still mostly on Mon, but a lot of nice jazzy piano I noticed throughout. And I mean, if you haven't heard Mon Laferte, his incredible voice, it's just extremely big and rich, very jazzy, seductive. She can get a little raw when she needs to. Just one of those voices with effortless power. She can do a whole bunch of Latin styles, the jazz and the swing and everything. And she did a little rapping on this album, and it's fine. Not the best rapper, but she holds her own there. And you got a lot of traditional instrumentation, a lot of traditional Latin sounds here. I don't know the difference between all of those styles that you were rattling off. A lot of it sounds sort of in that like Latin jazz arena, which is a little bit different from what I'm used to hearing from her. I thought she was a little more like Latin pop and rock. So that was interesting to hear her kind of not as like a lounge singer, but early 60s and stuff like that. It was that kind of sound and that kind of styles that I'm used to. Some 70s stuff in there as well. Song-wise, some cool stuff. Again, I mean, I can't really even say these words. Porque me fui a enamorar de ti. Really like the percussion on that one. Quídate esta noche. There's really nice, like 70s folky feel to it. Reminded me a little of like Joni Mitchell. Some nice stand-up bass there. The vocals on this album are really strong, but they're not quite what I'm used to from Mon. Usually, at least from what I've heard, she gets like a little more powerful or a little more powerful. That's not a word, but her voices are really powerful and can get a little like astringent sometimes. Like she can really just like belt it out and go really power. Here it's a little more like restrained a lot of the time, a little more like jazzy, free flowing, which I like. And I think the sound of the album's great. Everything's great. The only thing missing for me is like a really set of memorable songs. A lot of them just kind of had the same feel and the same vibes to me. And there's nothing other than like El Mambo, which has like the rap, and the last song, which is a duet. Everything else kind of sounded really in the same vein, either like more big band or a little more folky, but still with that like that jazz flavor. And I guess that comes from having one session and no overdubs. Song wise, nothing like really jumped out. It was like, wow, I got to listen to this a million more times. I think overall it was just like a really good vibe throughout. Really nice performances, nice singing, but without like that killer song, I think I'm like stuck in the 3.5 range.
Yeah, so I don't know, like reading what other people were saying about it before I listened to it, I basically the general expectation I had, people were saying, I'm not used to listening to this kind of music. I don't really know if it's good or not, but you can't deny how amazing her voice is. So I went in prepared to be blown away by her voice. And I got to say, I kind of wasn't that much. I think she has a nice voice and I think she's a good singer, but like it never really like blew me away. I always kind of wanted a little more. And tonally, I felt like it was a little anonymous. It didn't have a ton of its own character. Um, which may be sacrilege because everyone else that I've heard talk about this woman is just like raves about her voice. So I might be alone on that, but I kind of, it was just pleasant enough. I liked listening to it, but I wasn't wowed by the vocals. And I kind of agree with you. The songs were same, kind of pleasant, enjoyable, kind of went by. I liked almost all of them. There was maybe one or two that I was kind of like not really feeling, but mostly I enjoyed them. What I enjoyed the most about it was the musicianship, especially some of the arrangements, the horn arrangements, especially on a few of these tracks I thought were excellent. I think it all sounds really good. It's well produced. It's cool to check out the videos too. There's session videos, just kind of like some cameras roaming around through the studio as the record is being recorded. And like you said, it's all one take. So like you're seeing the record happen right in front of you. And that's kind of interesting. And Omar Rodriguez Lopez is kind of just standing in the room with one headphone to his ear. So yeah, that was cool. I enjoyed it. I thought most of it was good, but very little of it really like moved me in any kind of way, really. Yeah, I think song for song, maybe my favorite was Porque Me Fui the one you said. And Quédate esta noche was a nice ballad, a little more space in there, a little rhythmically less busy, which I think helped. Some of these tracks have a ton of percussion going on. The tracks that were kind of weaker to me, Caderas Blancas, that one has kind of a weird bass tone going on. I wasn't really feeling the bass on that. And El Mambo was the kind of one with kind of a hip hop feel, which wasn't doing it for me. Everything else pretty solid. Engineered by Bruce Botnick, which may be interesting to people who believe he produced L.A. Woman and was the engineer on Pet Sounds. So, uh, yeah, cool record. It's a 3.5 for me as well. I think it's a good record. I may even go back to it or check out some of her other stuff, but it's not a new favorite of mine, I wouldn't say.
I would say that her voice is a little bit more of a powerhouse on other albums. Like she is sort of in that like loungy mode for a lot of it. I think the only time I really was like blown away was be Quédate esta noche. And the two ones that you like least, Caderas Blancas and El Mambo, I think are like the most modern sounding. Like they have like almost like a reggaeton flavor at times. So those are probably my least favorite as well.
Yeah, from what I know of reggaeton, I am not not a fan. So that kind of rhythm comes in, I sort of start to shut down a bit. It was good to get into some different territory for us and to talk about it on the channel. I mean, we're always talking about different stuff over there, but yeah, 3.5. Check it out over on Patreon. Check the video description for a link. It'll take you over there if you're interested. And yeah, give it a listen. Let us know what you think in the comments. This doesn't have to be just us discussing this record. Everybody, check it out, whether you're in the Patreon or not, and talk about it in the comments here on YouTube. Yeah, hopefully people through this series can find some different stuff to explore and enjoy. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. We will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.